I'm currently disconnected. This is Let's Make Stuff. Let's make some Dragon Ball Z Armour. For this build you need some thin EVA foam, some thick EVA foam, some glue, some paint and some clips. Okay, first thing you're going to need to do is draw out a plan, or if you like you can click the link in the description box below and print one out. I've already drawn it for you. Once you've cut it out, it's time to pin it to a piece of foam, trace around the outside, and then cut it out. Once you've cut around the outside, it's time to put the template back on and just trace down hard over the surface, leaving a mark underneath, and that way it's going to give you a guide for where everything needs to go once you've cut out the pieces. This is the abs part here. You're just going to place that down, pin it down, and cut around the outside, leaving a nice hole. Now on a separate piece of flat foam, you're going to trace around the same template, adding a bit extra around the outside because you're going to want to stick that underneath, and you're going to cut some deep grooves to the foam. Now how I did this was I used the blade on a 45-degree angle, cutting it on both sides of the line, and that managed to leave a nice deep groove but not too far that it cut all the way through. Okay, so then you're going to flip around the other side, and if it's rough on the other side just smooth it out with a Dremel or some sandpaper. Then add some contact adhesive to the piece you cut out earlier and stick it down. Now grab another piece of foam, making sure it's smooth on both sides, and you're going to grab the outline and the pec muscles of the armour and just cut those out as well. Pin them down, trace them out around the outside, and then cut them out. Once you've cut them out, just place them on top of the piece you've already cut to make sure it all fits in, and it's on to the next piece. Now grab a thicker piece of foam, making sure it's smooth on both sides, and you're going to take the two pec pieces you cut out earlier, trace around, and then cut these out. Now I wanted to get a sort of a round look on these, so what I did was grab some scissors and cut them on a 45-degree angle to give it a nice sort of curved look, and then smoothed it out with some sandpaper so it looked nice and smooth. I also used a blowtorch or a heat gun to make it a little smoother. Now once you're happy with the pieces, put some glue on them and stick them in place. On to the next piece. Now the front piece is pretty much the same as the back piece. You're going to cut out the piping, and the framed part, cut out the stripy bits and cut some grooves into them. The only real difference is that at this point you're going to decide where you're going to put your clips. Now glue them once you've decided where you're going to put them down. Glue them down with some liquid nails or some adhesive glue. And remember with the back plate that you want it to match up with the clips, so remember to cut out some little points as well, so that fits into place nice and easy. Okay, so once that's glued into place, it's time to glue down the piping we cut out earlier. Just press it down into place, and it should fit nice and easy. Okay, now it's time to join the side that doesn't have the clips on it, using a contact adhesive. Once you've done that, it's time to work on the piping on the back. Now I added a little extra on each side, because that's going to overlap later on. Now in order to get a nice curve, I used a blowtorch, or you can also use a heat gun here. Just be careful. And once I'd done that, it was time to glue on the other side of the clips, making sure that they lined up with the clips I glued previously. Now with the piping, I just glued it down and used some pegs to hold it into place, which made it nice and neat. Now as for the straps, I just measured out some rectangle shapes, the same width as the straps on the armour themselves, and lined them up with about ½ centimetre gap in between each one. Now for the final piece, the bottom part, the round sort of tube-like part, I grabbed a piece of foam and wrapped it around a ruler using a bit of tape, and then put some pressure on it for a couple of hours with something heavy. That made it easier to glue it along the bottom. Now when you're gluing it along the bottom, just remember to start where the clips join and glue it all the way around. Now that everything was glued into place, it was time to coat it in some PVA glue. You can use Podge or you can use a primer if you like. Once it's dried, it's time to coat it in some white paint. Now for the center part and the straps, you can either put some yellow on straight away. I tried a technique where you put some brown on and then some yellow, and that came out okay. It was a technique I found on this video here. Well worth checking out. So there you have it, your very own Dragon Ball Z Armour. I've got to say, I like it. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more builds, press subscribe. And don't forget to share it with all your friends on social media applications. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. See you later. Subscribe, Kakarot! Kakarot! Kakarot?